Welcome, everybody, to Dead Talk Live. Tonight we have four very special guests. We are joined by Brian, Darcy James, Destry, Allyn, Spielberg, Oliver Brooks, and Gilana Lobel from the short film Let Me Go the Right Way, which is premiering on the Alter channel March 7th. For those of you that don't know, you can watch the Alter channel on the Roku channel, Redbox, as well as on their YouTube channel. Guys, thank you so much for coming on here and talking about this short film. I thoroughly enjoyed it and it left me wanting more. I wanted to find out more about this story. And Brian, I want to start with you. You play the psychiatrist Dr. Kemp. When we first meet Dr. Kemp, he comes across as sort of this know it all, snobby, rich doctor psychiatrist. What were your thoughts on how you were going to approach Dr. Kemp?
Well, first of all, the script was so interesting and the character was so rich and not to spoil it, and we'll probably get there ultimately, but the character does reveal himself to be something that he's not.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always really interesting to play. But I felt most importantly for the beginning of the relationship that I start with Hopper's character, when he comes in to see me as a patient in a psychiatrist's office, I really felt it was important to hopefully portray a person that was genuinely and sincerely caring for this person to basically entrap them,
Yeah.
whether unwillingly or unwittingly, rather. So just to give him a sense of a real professional sheen of he knew how to do his job. He was hopefully inviting and made it a place where he wanted to come and participate in this doctor patient relationship. And then of course, the script is so great because peppered throughout it there's all kinds of things that he says that just kind of tip his hand a little bit, and you don't know
Mm-hmm.
if it's just his way of speaking or if he's just kind of a little odd or just doesn't have the greatest sense of humor. But that's, as I said, it's revealed later where it's all going.
And it surprised me, I'll tell you that much. Now, Destry, you and Owen King came up with this story. How did this concept arise?
Yeah. Well, we came up with it in the midst of the pandemic, and it was kind of towards the end of 2020. I believe it was December. I was looking to make a short film, and my manager also repped him and wanted to kind of introduce us. And at the time, my partner at the time had gotten COVID, but was experiencing long COVID. And it was, anxiety, hypochondria, just things that they never had before. And I sort of had the idea from having to be, around it and trying to help them. And I thought, well, what if I made a story about a young man who has hypochondria
Mm-hmm.
and goes to see a psychiatrist who, in the original, my idea, didn't believe him, and then at the end he just dies because he
Yeah.
actually has all these crazy problems. But when Owen and I started talking, we started spitballing other ideas and kind of came to the conclusion of Dr. Kemp and
Aiden.
oh my god, been so long.
Aiden.
And
Yeah.
Aiden, thank
Yeah.
you. Oh, sorry, I'm in the middle of two movies right now, so
No,
my
I
brain is
totally
like
get it.
his names. Uh, and yeah, it just truly like bloomed, and it was awesome. And Owen King, by the way, is such a great writer. I mean, what an imagination he has.
Yeah, I think he
He's
has
awesome.
some good bloodlines on that one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
Now, Gilana, you produced quite a few short films in your career. How did you get involved with this project?
Well, yeah, Oliver and I have been working with Gobi One Motion Pictures for 5 years producing short films, but I also work as a line producer and production manager. And one of our co-producers, Michael Pitt, who's good friends with Josh Kesselman, another of our producers, called me up and brought me the project and said, "Hey, I don't produce short films, but I heard that you do. Would you be interested in this project? And Oliver and I gave it a read and immediately were intrigued by Destry and Owen's vision for this film, for this script. And we got to meet Destry and Owen and really get into the characters and talk about what Destry envisioned for how to bring the story to life. And we got really excited by the challenge that it presented us to tell this really rich visual story that also had this incredible twist, which was not a kind of project that we had done before.
Yeah, this definitely has a great twist to it. Oliver, what was it about the story in particular that really intrigued you?
Just reading it the first time, you could really just see it, and like there was some stuff that we cut out initially, but it was just so rich, and the world that they had created on in a few number of pages was really incredible. Gilana mentioned like she and I have both been doing huge projects in New York for many years, and like as soon as I read it, I was like, oh, we can do it here, and we can do it here, and like just had all these ideas like jumping off right away. So we dove right in and made something that we're really proud of.
Brian, you and Hopper really play well off each other on the screen. What does Dr. Kemp see in Aiden that fascinates him?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, thank you for saying that. I felt the same way. It was a real pleasure working with Hopper and kind of having this really intense moment of time to kind of make this short film together. But in terms of the character, I think again, it's a I don't know how much we should reveal, but Gilana said it best. There's a big twist at the end, but I think it's suffice to say that I think he's curious about how willing Hopper's character Aiden is willing to go into the kind of the lair of this guy and to kind of his snatches and kind of to trust him and how far he can take it and how far he can enlist his trust. So, that kind of father-son relationship that kind of that starts to develop a little bit near the end before everything goes haywire. I just think he's fascinated by just how far he can get Aiden to trust him. And I think that the further he goes, the better for Dr. Kemp.
Sort of like a little bit of a Hannibal Lecter to see how far he can manipulate his patients to do his bidding. Exactly. Now, Destry, what was it in Brian and Hopper that you saw that really told you this is going to be Dr. Kemp and Aiden?
Well, Hopper is somebody who we kind of all came together all at once. So Hopper was in the mix from the writing stages. And he's such an amazing actor, by the way, and so raw and real and just has such a innocent sort of, he has something about him on camera. I can't even explain. I can't give you like exact words on why I think he was, perfect for the part, but to be honest, he just was him.
And he was perfect.
Yeah, he really was. And he, and he came and that first shot, one of the first shots thing we did with him was with him sitting in the chair. And I remember looking at the screen, I was like, this is like, I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Like he just, all I told him was like, just sit down and comfortable. And he just did it. He was like a little grasshopper. And it just worked. And then Brian, we had met working on West Side Story, for a brief second. And we were kind of going through the list of people that we wanted to reach out to. And the second I met him, it just all clicked. It made sense. I mean, it's kind of like, it's like when you know.
Yeah.
That's kind of the beauty of casting. It's not always about, performance and looks. It's really just kind of meeting the person and kind of getting to know them and feeling like, yep, this will work.
And Brian, I mean, I gotta really tip my hat to you. You were so amazing as Dr. Kemp. A fatherly figure, yet terrifying, loving, smartass at times. You really blended that all well in a 15-minute short film. Now, Gilana, what do you think is makes the horror genre so great for the short film way of telling a story?
Oh, that is a very interesting question for me, someone who does not love the horror genre. But for me, it's about building the tension and the fear, right? It's those little moments that build upon each other that really can heighten the emotion, and so that when there is a twist or when there is that monster jumping out of the closet, that's where your heart jumps out of your chest, right? So it's for me from script to screen, finding those moments all along the way of telling the story that build that tension, that bring you to that moment of fear.
Yeah,
And I think this script, from the moment we read it, we felt that. And then we got Brian and Hopper, and the way that it builds in that room, in this very small, tight space for this period of time, for me, that's how we built that
I completely
into that
agree.
fear,
I
that horror.
completely agree. Oliver, for me, this, like we talked about a little bit before we started the show, it left me wanting to see more. This has all the elements of becoming a feature film. What are your thoughts on that?
We have had discussions about it. We talked about that even before we started making it. We are working on something, but we're not ready to share that just yet.
Okay, that is perfectly fair. I hope it happens because there's so much that I would like to know. Brian, you have worked on so many well known films, television shows. You have done some amazing work. I believe this is your second short, at least according to IMDb. Were you just so enthralled by this story that you absolutely had to do it?
Yeah. It's such a great script, and it's so weird and wonderful. I just love the authenticity of the voice and the storytelling. And of course that is compounded by what Destry was able to do just with the touches of humor and just the way that she kind of traversed the script and gave it a visual stamp of her own style, but just going so many different places. It really packs so much into a little amount of time, stylistically, in the production value, in the characters. So that all seemed to be kind of right there when you're reading it, which is not usually the case.
Yeah,
Sometimes you find one thing to say, okay, well, this will work. Well, this will be enticing. But this seemed to be all pretty robust with so many different things that are going to would potentially and ultimately did make it really successful.
absolutely. Oliver, would you say all the producers, as well as the director, writers, and the cast, was this a collaborative effort when it comes to the creative process of this story?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, any project has that, but like this especially, the people we were able to get involved in this, like all just really contributed amazing things. Our DP was incredible. Our production designer was incredible. I mean, each cast member added a lot of amazing things. Like, you read something on a page and it's great, you can visualize it, but once you get everybody in the room and it starts showing up on screen, like it's an amazing feeling. I mean, that's I think one of the big reasons why we all do this, and that's one of the things that was so special about this movie in particular.
That's when the magic happens. Destry, you've acted, produced, directed. As your career progresses, do you want to continue to pursue everything, all three, or does your passion lay in one particular area?
That's a great question. It's funny, I thought about this. I love acting. But I think it really, like, my passion really lays in directing and producing, and they kind of come hand in hand. And even if I don't even think I'm going to be producing, I end up kind of getting myself involved with producing it. But I kind of made a little bit of a slight promise to myself that I'm going to kill myself off in every movie I make, some way or somehow, just for fun. Or get myself like a little silly cameo. So yeah, so in terms of acting, I think I'll stick to to what I'm directing, and
Just have fun
yeah,
with it.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Brian, I want to leave the last question up to you. This is very worthy of mentioning. Okay, the story was written and directed by Steven Spielberg's daughter and Stephen King's son. You played opposite of Sean Penn's son. There's a great generational bloodline to this project. Just what were your thoughts on that and the people that were involved in this project?
Well, I think the first thing I have to say is that I am Tom and Mary James's son, which I think should be stated up front. Um, uh, um, Look, it was exciting to know that I was meeting artists that I'd never met before, and it was evident from the very beginning that everybody that was there was there because they wanted to be there and were
Mm-hmm.
excited to make something unique and cool and different. And it was I was really excited by the whole prospect of it all.
Absolutely. And like I said, you guys really did bring magic to the screen. Congratulations to all of you. I love this short film. It left me wanting more. Oliver, I hope that feature film does work out and happen. I think it would be a great hit. I want to thank our guests, Destry Allyn Spielberg, Brian Darcy James, Oliver Brooks, and Gilana Lobel. The short film is called Let Me Go the Right Way in parentheses, and you'll find out why when you watch the film. It is premiering March 7th on the Ultra channel. Again, the Ultra channel, you can catch it on the Roku channel, on Redbox, and as well as their YouTube channel. Guys, thank you so much. On behalf of my guests and myself, stay safe. Thank you to our audience, and stay walking. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.